Hi everybody, welcome to my channel, Ideas Matter. This is Bobby. Um, Following the last video we made a promise that we're going to come up with part two of that video. And the title of the video was The Effects of Slavery and Slave Trade, Colonization and Neocolonialism. These effects could be positive and negative. Positive, especially mostly to the colonizers, as we said in the video, and the most of the disadvantage. In fact, almost everything is disadvantage to the colonized. So we promised that we're going to come up with part two, which was going to focus mostly or mainly on the solutions to the effects of all these happenings that has happened in history. And we think that such things should never happen again in anywhere. So like we said earlier, we had said before, colonization did not only take place in Africa. It took place in many other places around the world. But the one in Africa, the scale was too high. So the people suffered, and up to this day, they still suffer from it. So African leaders will focus mostly on the African and mostly black people all around the world. So we think that the effect of colonialism, colonization, slavery and slave trade, and today neocolonialism is not of any help to the African especially, and to the black people in general. So African leaders, you should ask yourself, in fact even black people together, especially Africans, we should ask ourselves, you cannot adopt somebody's thing. Can you adopt somebody's thing and do it better than that person? Because everything that we now have in Africa today, in fact, almost everything, since our own cultural relics, everything, our culture was destroyed, our religion, our religious scripts stolen, some stolen away, some burnt, destroyed. I mean, we were kings and queens. We were kingdoms and empires. Do you remember the Sokoto Empire, the Mali Empire, the Niger Empire? We look at all this. We had kings. We had Sumanguru. Look at Sumanguru was Sondiata, King Zulu of KwaZulu-Natal. So we were kings and queens. We lived as angels. We enjoyed, we had a good life, we had a good living until they came. We're talking about the colonizers. They came and divided us and colonized us and enslaved us, partly because of our stupidness, because we don't love ourselves. So we're now calling on all of us. We must, black people, all around the world, we must love each other as never before. We must come together. We must understand ourselves. We're not saying that we should colonize other people. Of course, we can't even do it. We don't even have the means. So leaders, the African leaders, you keep importing arms to kill your own people, because you're preparing for the day they're going to stand up to protest so that you can kill them. Stop this. Focus on let's develop our continent, develop your countries. Encourage the citizens of your country to move from those who are coming from different parts of the region or different parts of the province. Let them visit around. Look at John Pombe Magufuli of Tanzania. He said he doesn't visit Europe. He doesn't travel to Europe because Tanzania is rich, and he encourages his own citizens to travel from one place to get to know each other. This bring about cohesion. You bring about understanding. Citizens understand citizens from different parts of the country understand one another. It builds love. It builds that sense of belonging to that country, that sense of patriotism, to stand up and defend the country. All Africans especially must understand that we must rise and fall together. We must encourage this kind of love within your country, between communities. Sometimes a lot of these civil wars could be avoided. These tribal wars. Leaders of the countries, presidents over there, make sure that you have a lot of law officers to make sure they keep peace within the community, to avoid some of these tribal wars. We must begin to love ourselves, stand by each other. We must have to go back to our roots. You must go back to our roots. We have to. Because nothing, all of that has been destroyed that was ours. Look at religion. Religion came in to replace ours. See what is happening over there in the continent. Those so-called pastors, ask yourself, what are you doing with all the offering money you collect all the time? Chibuzo, this man of God in Nigeria, in Port Harcourt, he's asking you a question. What do you really do with your church money, the money you collect every Sunday, the offering money, sometimes millions? What do you do with them? African leaders, don't be deceived. This colonizers telling you of climate change, pollution, and this and that. Yes, we care about all of that as usual. Black people, we are the people always caring about ourselves, caring about everybody. But ask yourself, how much of the industrialization do you have there that they keep deceiving you there? Industrialize your continent so that you give job to our citizens. We have the minerals there. We have everything that we could use to develop these industries. So our people will have jobs. We depend mostly on importation of goods. We don't export. How can a country survive? How can a continent survive? How are they supplying it to us and we cannot supply it to them? What you supply to them is your natural resources. They go and modify it, like the president of Rwanda said. I'm talking of Paul Kagame. Carry all these things, your coffee, cocoa, and so on, your mineral resources, your everything to them. It's like they just bless it and bring it back to you. And when they bring it back to you, you pay 3-4 more times than the price they bought it from you. I mean, who is the fool here? What are we waiting for? You steal all the money, because of this neocolonialist mentality, because of the brainwashed mentality. They used to, when they came to colonize, they were carrying everything that belonged to us. All our wealth was, swindled out of our continent. Today, our own leaders, because of these colonial deals they have signed, Coopération Française and all of those things. Now they're signing deals like there's some words we don't want to use. It's not. It does. The words do not sound good. Please open industries. Provide job for your children. Let them live with some dignity. Africans, don't ever be deceived by anybody to make you believe that you cannot do. We can do it. Don't let anybody tell you you cannot do it. We can do it. Let's focus on ourselves. We cannot say that they should, excuse me, we should launch war against them to revenge or something. No, we don't even have it. All the ammunition that our leaders import back home and killing ourselves is coming from them. Let us send our children to go and learn some of those technologies. Come back and build some of those trains and planes and cars in our continent. Construct good roads for your children. What has Africans done to suffer like this? We're still using the same old administrative buildings our colonial masters they built in the African. Build some more administrative buildings. Construct better roads, better hospitals. Some of those hospitals, you travel abroad, you go abroad for medical checks. What about the common other citizens? Learn to trust your doctors. Send your children to be trained. Open more schools, better schools. School in the area of health and technology. Encourage, we are seeing some young African inventors, African leaders. Encourage some of those inventors. Send them outside. Let them go and professionalize their skills. So they come back, they can produce some of those planes, produce some of those cars and trains and so on. So that we can also compete with them. When you always, everything is coming to you from somebody, you can never compete with him. Of course, that's why they see us as nothing. They see Africa as nothing. And once Africa develops, like I said before, it will have a different image on the black people in general and the Africans in particular. When African Americans try to visit Africa more and more, and when they come there, Africans, when they come there, treat them well, receive them. They are your brothers. We are one. And when our brothers from Africa or our sisters visit Europe or come to America, we should treat them with some level of dignity. We are one. We must learn to stand together. If we don't love ourselves, who do we expect to love us better? We should take care of our environment, take care of our people. Construct some of those schools, the best schools that you send your children to study abroad. Let's study there. Open schools that our children can learn, check out the system of our government before, our way, the way we used to worship. Now you adopt everybody's thing. You cannot adopt everybody's thing and you think that you can do it better than that person. So let us go back, study how we used to govern ourselves, how we used to worship God. Democracy, they destroy our own system of government as kings and queens, and then brought democracy, which says is government of the people, that is by the people and for the people. Government of the people, by the people, for the people. But do the governments in Africa, are the government for the people of Africa? No. Just the same like the colonizer used to ship away all what was in Africa, all the things we had, the mineral. Today, our leaders have signed deal. The same thing, they are also sending those things to them. And we, our citizens, suffer. Please, African leaders, especially, you must learn to know that it's you that will bring some level of change, some level of inspiration to your people. You must learn to treat your people with some dignity. You must learn to give your citizens some respect. When you are signing deals with those countries, the respect for countries, there must be some respect for your citizens, especially the way we see our people suffer. When your children today are being enslaved in other parts of the world, sex slave, how do you feel when you see some of these videos? Your children sinking in the Atlantic Ocean. How do you feel, African leaders? How do you feel? No jobs over there. Because of no job, there's this intense poverty. Intense poverty. Crime becomes very easy. People indulge in crime, prostitution. Some get into the hands of ISIS and so on. Let us not allow this to happen again. We must learn to, and Africans, all young Africans, do not give a blind eye. You must keep a check. There must be some kind of checks. Refuse to accept leaders changing constitutions. Refuse to be bribed to vote for a leader. The leader has been there for so many years. They don't want to leave. And part of it is sponsored by these very colonizers, because they want those people to stay in place so they continue to get their resources the way they want. And you guys are suffering. The young people, you're suffering. So I refuse. Tell yourself, if anything were to change for good, for your country, it should start from you, or you should be part of it. Like you see me standing here, it's because of that care, that concern that I have for my country, for my continent, for my people as a race, that I'm standing here. So determine that if anything were to happen for good in your country, it should start from you. If anything were to happen for the good in the African continent, it should start from you, the African continent. If anything were to happen good for the black people, it should start from you. We must learn to love ourselves. You don't see your black brother coming from over there and then you see you're diverting from here because you don't want to meet with him. Why are we having this kind of mentality? This attitude. You develop an attitude. I mean, it doesn't speak well for you. Why are we doing this to ourselves? So we must learn to love ourselves. We must learn to stand there for each other. We must be willing. We must be willing to hold our leaders responsible. When our leaders, they put rules there, changing of constitution. Don't accept this. A constitution is a constitution. If the constitution has to be changed, it should be changed for the good of the country, not because of an individual who wants to stay in power forever. Never. That should not happen. That's why you see there's a lot of chaos in Africa. And some of these things are influenced from abroad. You must learn to determine yourself. Tell yourself, there must be positive change coming into your country for the good of everybody. Don't support a leader who is rigging election, who is bringing no change into the country. When you are going to vote, vote for those who have ideas, who can implement those ideas for the good of the people, not people who come to bribing you with money to go and vote. No, it's not that. That shouldn't happen. Please, all African Americans, we love you. African Americans, you are our brothers. We should live as one. We should love each other. And we're saying that we should extend this love to the world. And the world should also treat us with some respect too. We should not live as animals. Let's live as human beings, understanding one. Without this, there will be no peace in the world. We hope that everybody is listening. I know we can expect that good changes will come. Thanks to everybody.